Hello and welcome back to Assetto Corsa. Thank you very much for joining me in today's video, and today I'm going to be showing you what I think is needed to make Assetto Corsa the best simulator that it could possibly be in 2023. Now this is essentially a follow-on / update to a video I did in 2021 called How to Set Up Dynamic Weather using a few different mods, and this is sort of a similar-ish kind of video, except I'm not really going to go into a massive amount of detail about the dynamic weather. This is more so going to be more of just an overview of everything that I think you need to make Assetto Corsa look excellent in 2023. So before I even roll the intro, I might as well tell you what the four things are. The first one is you have to have the content manager. Second is the custom shaders patch. Third is pure or sol, but pure is I think better. And fourth is a decent post-processing filter. In this case, I'm using a post-processing filter called TrueColors. So those are the four things that you must have to make Assetto Corsa look great and feel great and just be the best simulator it can. Beyond that, of course, you could add different cars, different tracks, and a whole bunch of different apps. But just as the basics, the groundwork, before you do anything else, these are the things you need. So, after the intro, I'm going to be driving around, giving you a bit of a demo of exactly what this all looks like. And then after that, I may show you some of my settings. I'm going to show you how to take certain screenshots as well, or try to take realistic screenshots so that you get an idea of how this looks. And then, as I said, I will show you my settings for custom shaders patch, just so that it gives you a good idea as to what you can do with decentish hardware. My hardware is a 10700K. And a 2070 EVGA RTX 2070. So for today's hardware, I suppose the 2070 would be classed as mid-range, maybe going to low end now, and certainly the processor is now on the lower end, with a number of low-end processors of today beating it. So there you go, let's roll the intro. After the intro, as I said, I'm going to be driving around a little with this vehicle. I'll show you some of the weather, time of day effects, all the things that you can do in Assetto Corsa with just these 4 mods, or 3 mods plus a post-processing filter. Very, very, very impressive. Okay, so here we are at Brands Hatch, and I've got it set up to, I've got some dynamic weather on, I've got time of day moving currently at 30 times, so we should have, every minute we should have half an hour pass. So that will just give you an idea of what we can do, and I've set it up in early autumn, I believe, so we should also see some of the differences in the foliage. The trees should be slightly different colour. It isn't going to be all oranges and things like that, but certainly a change in colour and a change in weather. In fact, you can see the weather changing right now. So what you are seeing on screen in front of you is pure, hard at work. And also you're seeing the post-processing filter of TrueColors working, along with Content Manager and indeed the custom shaders patch. So the Content Manager holds this and puts this all together, while the custom shaders patch does a lot of the heavy lifting. Pure is the weather controller with some of the sol weathers, and obviously the skyboxes that you can see. These are all 2D skyboxes at the moment. That is all done with Pure. I think they may be a little bit overexposed, just slightly overexposed at the moment, but not too bad. It's something I do need to make an adjustment on. And then of course You've got the post-processing filter just on top, giving you the little bit of extra tone mapping and depth of field effects and things like that. So overall, really, really nice. And I'm just driving around. We've got some extra controls, extra things available, which is something that content custom shaders patch gives us. For example, if I press the handbrake here, you'll see the handbrake comes on, although it doesn't seem to be actually working. That's a failed handbrake, isn't it? Or does it work? Oh no, it does work, it's just not very strong. Not very strong at all. You've got hazard lights in this car, indicators, left and right. If I hit the brakes, if I look outside very quickly, you should be able to see the hazard lights actually not switch on. No, they do at the front, but not at the back. That is interesting. I guess the back of the car doesn't have them modelled yet. Well, there you go. Now that is something that is brought in through that's brought in through some adjustments to the models, but all these adjustments are handled by the content manager, and it's the way it actually integrates and implements a lot of this is handled through the content manager. Now, I could have put 3D trees on, but 3D trees does have quite a big performance hits. You can see some of these trees. They do not look very good, whilst other ones do. We do now have clear skies for a short period of time. And these are things that I am still working on. Also, I think, there you go, that's traction control. So you see the yellow light there, traction control as the rain comes in. And I think I've got an ABS control, and that's wipers. ABS is somewhere here, I know that. There's some ABS control, so there you go, ABS is now off, so you'll see the lights come on the dashboard as well, which is again really, really cool, things that you would not get normally in Assetto Corsa. So this should now bring some rain in. Now the rain should not be all too heavy, but nevertheless the rain should give me something to show as I start pushing a little bit. And one of the things you may notice is that we've got different types of shadows coming across the ground as the clouds build up, and as the mist builds up, and all of that kind of thing. So this is one of the key things in Assetto Corsa that we never used to be able to do. I just knocked my microphone. That we never used to be able to do, and that is that we never had the ability to have, until a few years ago, have all of these extra lighting, weather controllers, all of that kind of stuff. This was not something we used to be able to have. It looks like the mist is now coming down, and since all of this has started happening, this has just got better and better and better, to the point where we are now in a situation where this can look almost real with the right monitor. So if you have a HDR screen, which I unfortunately do not, and you have the right screen, and you get the right field of view and the right size screen, you are going to find that this is very, very realistic. And if you have a more powerful graphics card than mine, perhaps a 30 series, a 3070 or a 40 series, you will find that you will be able to add even more than what I have. So for example, the 3D trees. But one of the reasons I have not added 3D trees is because they do not seem to, at least as far as I've read, they do not have seasonal adjustments yet, and that may just be for the couple of tracks that I tried them on. But seasonal adjustment, I think, is really important. So, for example, seeing the trees here changing colour is kind of an important thing in my opinion, because it is that extra little bit of immersion that if you want to play in winter, you could enjoy it in winter. We've got some rain. Another thing that Assetto Corsa never used to have, which of course they've had for a couple of years, but it just shows how this all pans together now. And on top of this, rain now does have an effective rain. Why are my wipers not doing what I want them to do? Oh, it's done that again with the wipers, hasn't it? I can fix this. Bear with me just one moment. For now, I'm just going to switch to automatic wipers. Okay, so we're going to actually have a change in the way the track is going to feel. And now, as you can see with the rain, I can even put on some full beams. And look at that, you've got droplets on the track, and I can tell you now, this track is starting to feel wet, which is awesome. This has actually changed quite a bit in the couple of years that since I last made that video. This is now a much bigger deal. In fact, if you look behind, if you just see in the rear view mirror, you can see the amount of spray coming up behind me as well. And this is just light rain, this is not even heavy rain. It's just because of the speed I'm doing, it looks like it is a lot heavier than it seems. So this is now going to become a lot easier to lock up, more understeer, as you can see, because there is little grip. And obviously it's going to be easier to slide the car out as it gets wetter and wetter. And that is one of the really cool things. There it goes. So that is another really cool aspect of Assetto Corsa that never used to be there, and in 2023 it's just even better than before. A must-have. So this rain is controlled, the amount of rain, the intensity, the way it's controlled with the weather plan is all through Sol and Pure weather controllers. So Sol Weather, Pure Weather Controller, and I'm going to try and just focus a little bit here. And the actual rain implementation is by the custom shaders patch. So you can actually see also the way the rain has an impact on the driving. So when I'm accelerating, the rain is moving up the screen. When I hit the brakes hard, you'll see the rain start moving down the screen as gravity takes hold. Puddles are starting to appear, as you can see, on the side of the track. So again, all of this has really built up a lot in Assetto Corsa, and it has made Assetto Corsa so much better than it used to be. And in 2023, I think these are must-haves. If you want to play Assetto Corsa, these are things you must have. There is a weird lighting flicker that I'm trying to work out. I'm not sure what it is. But there is definitely a weird lighting flicker, and that is not supposed to be happening. But yes, so those are the 4 mods. Now again, the post-processing filter, up to you. There are so many. There's one by someone called something Kennedy, called natural mod. That's something you could get. There is is it 4 something pp, or is it just 4 pp, which is another, is it 4D pp maybe, which is another post-processing mod. That one just happens to be a bit too colourful for my liking. You've got the standard mods that come, or the standard post-processing filters that come with Pure, and if you're using Sol, ones that come with Sol, you could always use those. There's this one, TrueColors, as I said. I do find that this one is quite good. And there's another one that I've got, which I will show you in the photo mode. I've forgotten exactly what it's called, but it's got some Evo versions and things like that. And it's got a Gran Turismo style, GT Sport style versions. And that seems like a decent one as well. So that's another option to consider. And now you can see night is fallen, or night is falling too, and I'm driving through the rain into the night. It's just excellent. It really is excellent. The lights here are also dynamic, so we're not just looking at lights that are casting no shadows and it's just a flat light. These are all dynamic lights that we've got, volumetric lights. So when the fog comes in, hopefully the fog should show some of these lights in use, and that should also be really quite good. I think the rain is starting to clear away a little. So yes, so whatever post-processing filter you want, I think it's very, very useful. And then, as I said, you want to have you have to have custom shaders patch, you have to have content manager, and then potentially Sol or Pure. I think Pure is the better option, but Sol is still available. I think Sol is free, whereas Pure is Patreon only. Speaking of Patreon only, if you want the custom shaders patch, you do, and you want rain on it, you do need the Patreon version. But really, what you could do is, just touch the ground. I think I may have just missed that. I may have just clipped it just slightly. I just touched the grass and that threw me off. I think the Patreon only version has rain and a few other things. Now what you could do is, of course, you could support on Patreon for a bit. There you go, you're getting to see volumetric lights now. Look at the lights and the way you can see light cones around them as the fog builds up and the rain has stopped. Let's just get the screen cleared a little. And as night comes in, as night falls, you see now we still have a pretty greasy track. So I've got to be careful of the wetness on the track so it doesn't just disappear. I am still driving on what is a wet track, and it's really, really awesome to see. And now we're driving into definite fog. You can actually see the volumetric effects of the lights in the fog, even of these headlights. If I switch off that and just leave my headlights on, switch off my beams, you may see, you cannot really see it. You can probably see it a little bit better with the beams. It's actually a bad idea to run full beams in fog, because what happens is the fog will reflect off the full beams and it can just turn into a white wall that you cannot see in front of you in the slightest. I wonder if that will be emulated in this, or simulated in this, should I say. That would be interesting if it is. We're definitely now foggy, as you can see looking around. Look at the trees in the distance, very difficult to see some of them, they're disappearing into the fog. But it just looks so excellent. The fog is clearing though, because we have the moon up there and we can see the moon, so the fog is lifting already. Now I did that intentionally so that you could see into the night when night came. So that is why I've done this, but this is more of just a demonstration of what Assetto Corsa can be in this day and age. I mean, this easily puts a number of different titles to shame. And as I said, towards the end of the video, I will show you my settings for both the screenshots, how I take screenshots, and also just the general content, custom shaders patch settings, custom shaders patch settings. You try saying that out loud 5 times quickly, or 10 times quickly. Sound like a Sean Connery there for a moment. Yes, Mr. Bond. Here we go. I'm just waiting for the clouds to clear a little so that you can see the night sky. And yes, we even have a really, really nice night sky. In fact, I think the clouds are clearing since we could see the moon. Just waiting for a bit of clear. I guess I could clear the clouds manually if I wanted to. Just gonna clear some of the spray off my screen. There's still the odd speck of rain. And now you can see as the fog has gone, the volumetrics have gone. Almost lost control there. So you can no longer see the lights lighting up the fog, which is again a really cool thing to see. Definitely need beams here because darkness has very much fallen. Even if we are on a track where the track is fairly decently lit up. We've also got, one of the things that we have here is auto exposure. You've got this auto exposure which will brighten up the scene for you as your eyes would at night, which is kind of nice to see. But that is something that could be switched off or adjusted, and that is something I'm still working on, trying to figure out and adjust. Installing these mods is a very simple process. I've actually created a video, the video that I was talking about earlier, that this is a follow-up to. That video has been created and it shows how to install the mods, everything apart from Pure, but Pure is extremely easy to install as well. All you need to do is just run the install.bat batch file and follow the instructions, which is just tell me where your root folder is for Assetto Corsa, and that's it. The rain has now dried away, as you can see. Now I think there is an option to keep the rain for much longer, but obviously because I've made the weather, or I've tried to make the weather quite quick and quite turbulent with lots and lots of changes. I've just realised what that flashing is. I think they're photos. I think it might be photographs being taken. So the flashing is not a bug, it was photographs being taken. Grip is definitely back as well, as the rain has died away. So we do have things like wet lines, racing lines in the rain, which is kind of cool as well. Definitely have lots of cloud in the sky, as night is still coming. I'm not sure, we're not quite in the middle of the night yet. It's, in fact, I think we may have gone right through the night, to be honest. What I am going to do is... Oh no, there's some stars, I see some stars. I think the moon has just come out, because I just saw a bit of a light come up. So we've got a lot of ambient light here, which is perhaps a little bit more than I would want. So I could always make an adjustment to that. So what I could do is this does look quite bright on my screen, perhaps a little brighter than it should be. So what I will do is I'm just going to stop. After we get through this bit, just going to stop where it should be a little bit darker. Yes, perhaps just down here, and making adjustments on the fly. So this will show you how to make adjustments on the fly, which is probably a good idea to do. So here we go. So I'm just going to bring up the pure config, and what I have done is, because I'm using TrueColors, I went to import and then press TrueColors right there, and then imported that. But you can import from wherever you want, whatever drives you want to import from, etc. So go ahead and cancel that. Here we go. Is it lowest ambient light, moon appearance, stars? I mean, what I could do is go to Sol Planner, and not pin that. So these are all the things you can use to mess around with things. So currently we're in windy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to clear. I mean, literally no clouds. And I'll pause that. And we are currently at midnight, so I'm going to go forward in time there, about there, and then I'm going to do this. Nope. There's a way to do this. There we go. I'm going to stop time there. So we're at midnight. We have no clouds. We should have no clouds. There we go. No clouds. Midnight. And I'm just going to see how this looks outside. So it's a little bright. This is a little bright. So I can always go ahead and change things. So what do I want to change? Light, ambient light. Nope, that doesn't do anything. Or does it if I save it? No, it doesn't do anything. 0.673. So there are some things that I still need to work on. No, oh no, that was a photo. Night pollution. So you've got pollution as well. There we go. That's what it is. It's light pollution causing this. Okay. So if we really wanted it dark, you could do that. And now we've got a night, as opposed to any other night. Yep, so you do that, and now you've got true darkness. That is if you wanted pretty much pure darkness. So obviously light pollution is a big thing. So you could make an adjustment, and if you wanted to do it like that, now you can see where we're driving. That is pretty dark, and you've got all the stars around. There's still some light pollution around, but that is much better than what we had. So you could make some adjustments based on night pollution. You could change the night pollution for different places, I suppose. So if you wanted more light pollution here at night, then you could do that, and if you wanted less somewhere else, you could certainly do that. That looks like Orion's belt there. So yes, there we go. And then if I stop there, bring back pure config. Where is it? Pure config. I could always bring this back to whatever it was. In fact, I'm just going to re-import TrueColors. There we go. Bring that back to 1. See, that is it is quite polluted, but to be honest, if this is Brands Hatch, probably does have that kind of light pollution. So there we go. Okay, and if I now go ahead and go to the replay, and that, by the way, is the new save menu. I can go ahead and press F5 and get lost apparently in the ground, and you'll see just how realistic this all looks. And it really, really does. So for example, I could just pause it right here, and go for a photo mode shot. So this is the photo mode application, and I've got rain debug on, but I'm not going to use that because I've got rain later on. So if you want to take some rainy weather shots, you could always do that. You can use a decent zoom, and so you could do that. Bring in a zoom. You can control click to fine tune any of this. Change your filter if you want. Here's the other filter I was talking about. Pure Life, that's what it's called. So you could use Pure Life Evo, for example, which is pretty neat. Pure Life Evo GTS, a little bit brighter. Evo GT, a little bit darker. And then standard Pure Life is, I'm not sure about standard Pure Life. I think the Evo one is quite good if you were to bump the exposure up to 200% if you are using the pure config that I am. I think that would work really nice. And then, you know, you could change your shutter speeds. You could change your f-stop to whatever you wanted, your focus, so on and so forth. You've got a polarizing filter as well. You could change that. A vignette seems to switch off. Oh, actually, this time it hasn't. I was going to say vignette seems to switch off certain things. I think if we go to TrueColors and try and play around with the vignette, yeah, see, for some reason, it switches off the TrueColors filter. But with it appears that with Pure Life Evo, it does not switch off the filter. So you can mess around with a bit of a vignette. And then, of course, as I said, you could take your shot. Shutter speed disabled in this case, I guess, because we're still. And then it will go ahead and take the picture. I haven't even got the focus perfect there. Let's try that again. And if you wanted to, you could change around the times, you could change around angles of the car. There's so many things you can do. And this is one of the other things about Assetto Corsa, I think, that is really, really great, is that once you've gone ahead and played around with your day, with your track, with your car, and finished your session, you can go back and, well, do this and just sit around taking screenshots. And I think it's an excellent thing that that only Assetto Corsa does this well. Gran Turismo, I suppose, does it as well, but Gran Turismo has some, I think it's a bit harder to get these perfect shots in Gran Turismo. Let's go ahead and start driving, I guess. So we've got some driving going on here. And, you know, any type of shot that I want to take, I could go ahead and set up and take. So let me come up with an angle that's going to look really cool. So you can see grass effects at work here. Look at the detail of the grass that you would definitely not have in anything else. So if I just pause that there, just take a look at the detailing of that grass. And yes, these are small things, but these small things all add up to give you a really, really immersive experience. See if I can find somewhere where I actually hit an apex. Going off to, which way do I want the apex? That's not a bad one, actually. Staying on the inside of that is not bad in the slightest. Sometimes it shows that I'm actually a decent driver if you look at how close I get to the edge without actually going on the grass. Oops. Without actually touching the grass. That's fair. That's few and far between, that's for sure. And it's just a matter of trying to get an angle to the kind of shot you want. And to take really good photos, you've got to, I suppose, think about where the photographer would be. So a photographer's not going to be standing in front of the car like this when it's moving, unless it's got another car in front of it. And then if it's got that, you've got to think about that as well. So photographer maybe on a shot, if it's a close track or something, maybe standing here. So you want to take the shot something like that. And let's say, oh, I want the headlights on for this. There we go. And I can go ahead and take that shot. And you'll actually see the accumulation depth of field building up. So there's two ways. There are two ways of taking shots in this. You've got two ways of doing the depth of field and motion blur. One is IBIS, I think, and the other is accumulation. The accumulation one is better, but takes a much longer time. I'm trying to find, talking about how a photographer would take a shot, I'm trying to find a decent shot that a photographer may take, and I cannot find one just yet. That could be a shot. No, that was actually better for some reason. Let's try that, for example. Actually really should focus on getting the right focus. I could go back to using TrueColors and back to 100% exposure. You can see it looks a bit different in this. It looks a bit darker. So it's up to you. It's always your choice as to how you want to do things. You have to switch the vignette off, of course, for that, so it does brighten it up a little. But there you go. That could be an option right there. So that is going to go ahead and do what it needs to do. Now, settings-wise, what do I have for Assetto Corsa? Well, as I said, just at the end of the video, which will be fairly soon, I am going to just go through my settings. This is a really bad shot, to be honest. So I'm not going to waste time with these sorts of shots. That could be a good shot, though. Just need to find the right angle for that. For example, that was a really good angle. Just need to move slightly up. That's actually a really good angle for a shot. There we go. So I'm going to very briefly go through my settings, but for the most part, the settings are already set for you. So when you install the custom shaders patch, you will just get a whole bunch of settings already done. A few things have changed is obviously the way the screenshots are taken with the accumulation depth of field as opposed to the other version. Some optimizations. I think I reduced one of the shadow settings on one side. Real mirrors is active, which is a really neat tool, especially when you have head tracking on. You can look around and it just, well, looks like real mirrors. So those things are active, but I think for the most part, there isn't anything else I've done. Volumetric lighting I messed around with a bit. So you can mess around with a variety of these things. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find a spot where it was raining. There it is. And see what it's going to look like. Not only in the rain there, but in the rain near the start-finish line. So you can see there's quite a bit of rain. But as we come past that start-finish line, there we go. That is the kind of shot I would like. It's just a matter of finding the right angle. And this is a lot of what, when you are taking photos, a lot of it is trying to figure out what the right angle is going to be for the shot. And sometimes you find the right angle, sometimes you don't. So for example, at the moment I'm very much not finding a good angle for this, but I may at some point find a decent angle. But this is not. I suppose this is one of the advantages of doing it in Assetto Corsa as opposed to actual cars. You really do not have too much to worry about. See, now that could be a decent-ish place. Just trying to find a 1, 2, 3. Let's try it there. See what that looks like. Now that just looks wrong already. So sometimes I guess the shot doesn't come to you. I'm certainly not all that great as a photographer, so I wouldn't pretend that I know how to do any of this stuff. Definitely, I'm going to say that people are way better than I am at all of this. I'm sure if I got the right angle, something somewhere, it may look right, but I do not have the angle that I am after. Although this could be coming up to an angle that I am after. Now I'm getting an angle I'm after, perhaps. Maybe. No, I just do not have the right. No, I do not have the right angle here. Maybe if we go down this side and take a bit over here, we're going to get. I'm trying to find a place with a little bit even more. Trying to find a place with even more puddles. So we should have more puddles here now. There we go, more puddles. And then try and get an angle. Where am I? Not where I want to be, that's for sure. Where exactly am I? I think I may have gotten myself a little bit lost. Although now, here's another thing that you can see. Volumetric lights that I was talking about. That's a really good example of the volumetric lights. There you go. And I think we are going to get a really good shot here. If I can pull this off, this could be a really good shot. Just need it at the right spot. There we go. Maybe, just maybe, this may look okay. May not look the way I want it to look, but I will try anyway. I think that is pretty good there. So yes, there's loads of things that you can do with Assetto Corsa once you know what you're doing. Anyway, after I take this shot, I'll show you a few of the other screenshots. I'm going to jump out of this, show you a few other screenshots that I've taken, quickly go through my settings and end the video. Again, I think that these are, in my opinion, the three must-haves plus that post-processing filter that you'd want. But these are three must-haves to get the most out of Assetto Corsa in 2023. Without these, really, Assetto Corsa is just a very old title. These, not only do they give you better graphics, as I said, you've got the weather, the immersion, you've got extra light controls, like this volumetric stuff, new physics, better suspension, braking, extended physics is a big thing now coming along. So yes, there's just so much that can be done. Unfortunately, that end bit was no good, so I'm just going to leave now, and we're going to go back, and I'm just going to go ahead and show you some of the screenshots that I have. So we can start with these ones, of course, the ones that we've just taken. There's that one. That one looks pretty good. That looks fairly realistic too. Then I've got this one from earlier as I was testing things. Again, quite realistic. Fairly realistic, but not great. This one, not so keen on. I'm actually going to get rid of that one. This one I thought was pretty good. This one is really good. This is actually using a CPL filter to get rid of some of the reflections on this side. This one, I was trying a few things at night. This one, again, quite decent. Not so good. This one's okay. Trying to work out a few things with the rain. It looks a bit too wet there. That's a little bit better. Trying to work out a few things with smoke and seeing how that works. Brake light tests and so on and so forth. So there's a lot that you can do. And if I quickly just go through my custom shaders patch settings, feel free to take screenshots of this. So there you go. These are my general patch settings. Anything that is in blue is what I have changed. So there you go. This is just your general settings. Brake disc effects, basic. Car instruments, basic. I switched off a few things there. Chaser camera, nothing. Chat shortcuts I don't use. I think chaser camera should probably be off because I don't use it either. Colorful shadow, as you can see, I've left it as it is. DXGI is switched off because I'm not using windowed mode, so it doesn't do anything. Extra effects, quite a few things changed here, so you can see that. Fake shadows just softens up shadows. Another good thing. Force feedback tweaks really does help. Still working out this real steering forces one. I was trying it earlier. Not very successfully. Rear camera I don't actually use. Gamepad effects don't use. Graphics adjustments. I do make a few adjustments to the graphics. There you go. And then at the bottom you can take a screenshot of that if you want. Cross effects, quite useful. As it says, it might be pretty expensive. It is. So these are one of the few things that I would switch off initially. So volumetric lights, dynamic lighting, grass effects. Those are the kind of things I would switch off. Shadows, bring the shadows to a lower quality. GUI, you can mess around with that as much as you want. So I've got some of the debug apps selected. Lighting effects right there. And if you've got a G27 or G29 like I did, again, I can now switch that off, but I used to have that on. It actually activates those LEDs, which is great. New AI behavior, avoid puddles. I'm going to try and bring up some puddles and drive straight into them and see what happens. New loading screen, fade in smoothly. Just that. Nice screenshots. This is how some of the screenshots are done. You can do that. There is one way somewhere of doing these weird lines, but I don't know where that is. There's an option somewhere to do these weird lines to give you some very interesting screenshots. Particle effects, again, this is something you want to, if you're struggling, you want to work on this a little. So for example, render half resolution, simplify shading, maybe switch off casting shadows. That will help improve performance. So there you go. Rain effects, again, only available in the Patreon version. Reflections, didn't change anything. Shadowed wheels, skid marks effects. I really do. I don't use this because I'm not I don't particularly do much in the way of skidding. Although the save skid marks between game launches would be interesting to try. That is certainly for sure. Smart mirror, quite useful when you're using head tracking. So you switch on real mirrors there. Smart shadows, just box standard. Taskbar, you can do what you want with that. That's the one on the side. Track adjustments. This is, again, I think uses a bit of performance there, so just be aware of that. You can get rid of spectators or whatever. Tires effects, quite simple. Weather effects, very important. This is how you get pure working. Change weather style to pure. And then obviously you have turn wipers on and off, automatically switch that off. See, this is why I'm a bit confused why I couldn't actually switch on my wipers. So I should be able to do that with that switched off. I'm going to have to double check my settings, controls. Windscreen effects, Yibisest, whatever this is. This is the Yibisest. This is the post-processing. And then you've got some small tweaks here, which I have done a few small tweaks just because of how I like to have certain things. So there you go. That is that. So yes, definitely worth having these mods. They do not cost too much because it's just a small donation. You can just give a small donation to the developers. There's two developers, one that does Content Manager and the custom shaders patch, and the other that does that does Sol and Pure. And then of course, if you want to, with the post-processing filters, you could always give some a donation there. But all in all, for just a few pounds, you can make your Assetto Corsa essentially brand new. Like this is extremely high quality. Just look at that. That is extremely high quality photography graphics right there. And that is where I'm going to end this video. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video. Subscribe to the channel for more videos on Assetto Corsa. I have a few other ideas, and of course when Assetto Corsa 2 comes out, I'll be doing that and certainly comparing Assetto Corsa 2 in its default state to Assetto Corsa with whatever the mods will be, and just seeing how that actually pans out. If you can do so, please do consider supporting me on Patreon. Link is in the description box below, and also you can find me on social media at ECGadget LP for both Instagram and Twitter. Lastly, do go check out my Discord server. Link to that is also in the description box below. That is all from me, and I shall see you next time in Assetto Corsa, or indeed any other title on my channel. You are more than welcome to check out any of it and leave comments on all of them. I shall see you next time.